journeys from the Cape Dungeon to bring my ancestors with me to this place tonight. The story will be told. I live to tell that story. The ancestors from Africa to Haiti to Jamaica to Canada, it's the same ancestor. We are one African people. This is an urgency calling, I see it. This is a higher calling. I am calling Marcus Messiah Garvey. I am calling Nanny of the Maroons. This is a serious call. This is a Pan-African unity call. I am calling to Son Liverton from Haiti. I am calling Maurice Bishop. He might get up for this a calling. This a calling, I'm even balling. Whoa! This is a balling calling.
Sankofa. It means go back to your roots so you can go forward. And I'm here to share this journey. We have to decide where we want to go. We can't half this and half that. We can't have look a bit of the cyanide in the water and talk about we're going to take out half of the cyanide. We either go all the way back or all the way black to our spirit self and move forward. That's why we're going to create this space. We're not going to have one thing. Rasta will be there, Yoruba will be there, and Shango, Legba, Mau, Vudon. All of our African retention need to be discussed in this spiritual framework. And African people will rise again. African people will rise again. We will rise, we will rise, we will rise again because we'll get back our own gods and goddesses.
When Europeans came to Africa, one of the first things they did was to take all the spiritual people, all the drummers, and that's why you made a very good point about the drumming. They took them and they banished them immediately. They didn't look for the heads, they didn't look for all the chiefs. They took all the spiritual people, all the drummers, and they banished them away from us.
Africa, I gave birth to humanity. But many, many moons ago, strange men came to my lavish land to steal African human beings.
Whether it's the Arabs, 632 AD, or the European 1400s, came to Africa, tell us that what we had, our African spirituality, was evil, and brought a Eurocentric Greco-Roman Christianity to Africa. The Arabs brought the sword or the Quran, the Bible or the gun with the Christians.
We were taken from Africa, we were brought over here to work under hideous conditions. We were never paid for our work, our labor, our sweat, our tears. The death that took place to many of our ancestors, never ever were we paid. And the people who have benefited from the slave trade and slavery overall, they gained much. They gained the building of their cities and their infrastructures. And what have we gotten?
200 years later, in 1807, some fellow in Britain, Wilberforce and a bunch of abolitionists, European abolitionists, made a statement that they put an act in Parliament to abolish slavery. I will make my case today that they didn't do this out of their goodwill.
When we get into the history, it becomes very clear that this came about because Africans rebelled. There were constant rebellions, there were constant uprisings, there were constant freedom fights. And this was the response of people who wanted to cut down on those things taking place. And in fact, this person that they are holding up as some kind of paragon of a liberator, William Wilberforce, made it very clear that he wanted the transatlantic trafficking to stop because he felt that the Africans that were brought directly from the continent were the ones who were creating the problems and creating the uprisings. And he preferred, and he wrote this and said this very carefully and very clearly, he preferred to breed us. So any idea that William Wilberforce was some kind of a liberator out of the goodness of his heart or was an abolitionist is just absolute crap.
You hear the revolution spread like wildfire upon America and the Caribbean plantation, making Africans having ambition to live as free humans. Tucson, go up on the attack. What that? Tucson, go up on the attack. What that? Black clot, attracting the French rat to bamboo clot. Haiti, I hate making in a bad situation. You people live in a long sufferation, looking for oneification.
And so this year marks the 200th anniversary of the abolition of the Slave Trade Act in the British Empire. Canada at the time was part of the British Empire. In November of 2006, Canada was one of 160-something countries that supported a United Nations resolution. I think Jamaica was the country that put the resolution forward. Supported that resolution at the United Nations, and that resolution called for global commemoration of the British Empire's 1807 abolition of the Slave Trade Act.
The whole idea about trade, it was never a trade. It was never just business. No African who was enslaved would tell you that the word trade has anything to do with what happened to them. You can't use trade to define rape, kidnap, murder. You just cannot use that word. So slave trade is a nonsense.
We should not be a part of any activity put on by the slave master as far as our ancestors and the death of our ancestors are concerned.
There is nothing to celebrate in 1807. There's nothing. But if we know that they're going to do this, we're forced tactically that we have to respond.
When Toyin Agbetu was invited to celebrate the transatlantic slave trade at Westminster Abbey, he went not knowing he would be arrested when he said,
and I said, in the history of the Ma'afa, the British are the Nazis. But where the Germans had the humanity and the humility to apologize and to reparate, you have not done so. And in so doing, you shame not only yourself, but your nation.
Me no want to hear about Queen Victoria. Give me my language I know so well. You mix up English confusing no L. Give me back my Matthew Pythagoras. Give me my symbols, the T from us. Give me this, give me that. Give me back me everything you got. You say steal not, you thief my land. Sex not, you rape my mother. Keep the Sabbath. We work 7 days a week. You build a nation from the sweat of my back. Now you want to come give me crack. Give me my herbs, let me make some tea. Give me back all my fruit tree. Give me the remedy that make blind see. Give me everything that you take from me. Give me this, give me that. Give me back me everything you got. Give me a space I can run my own life. Respect is due, the time is now. No more turn cheek, this time we not bow.